Joining me today is Dave Juvet, who's from the New Hampshire Business and Industry Association. Dave, we're talking about workforce development. It's one of the key sort of success components for businesses. If businesses are going to grow, they need to have the labor. We've got a good workforce, smart, but not plentiful, I think, is to quickly summarize sort of what, how do we, their jobs, which that part exists, how do we get people to move into the state or to grow the supply of labor?
Well, it's an excellent question, and it's one that we at the BIA think a lot about, and it's why we get involved in issues that you wouldn't perhaps normally associate a business organization getting involved in. For example, we have led the fight on behalf of the business community for more workforce housing and more rental housing in the state.
You're right, unless you were in the real estate development business, you'd say, why is that a business issue?
Right, and it is because employers who have employees need to have a place for those employees to live. And we know that the further away from the workplace an employee lives, it has negative impacts on productivity, negative impacts on the employee staying at that place of work. So it's a very significant issue and a very difficult issue to address in New Hampshire. We also this year got involved in a bill that would have provided protection from discrimination for transgendered individuals. And a lot of people were surprised. Why would the BIA get into that fight? And the reason why is really twofold. One, a number of our members have transgendered employees and they're valuable members of their workforce. But two, I refer to it almost as the anti-Indiana or anti-North Carolina Act. Instead of doing things that showed transgendered individuals, their families and friends, that we don't want them and that we are not welcoming, this is something that New Hampshire could have done to say, you're welcome here. We value you. You're an important part of our population. Again, it's something that makes the state welcoming to transgendered individuals and their families and friends around the country. So we felt it was important. Certainly other things, the cost of higher education is very problematic in New Hampshire. Our public university systems and community college systems do not receive a great amount of state funding, far less than what state universities and community colleges receive around the country. In fact, I heard yesterday that if you doubled the amount of state aid to the university system of New Hampshire, we would still be 50th out of the 50 states. So we're way behind. And what happens is our tuition costs are higher and our students are graduating with higher levels of debt than around the country. That's unattractive to young people. So we need to try and somehow think about what we can do as a state to make our colleges and universities less expensive.
And do kids who come to UNH or locally or whatever, do they tend to migrate out of the state? Do they stay in the state?
Well, we see a couple of things happening. One is, and to your audience, this won't come as any surprise, New Hampshire is graying. We're all getting older, and we don't have the influx of young people that we had. Now, part of that is because young people are choosing to leave New Hampshire for a variety of reasons. They may be able to go to school in another state for less than it costs to go to the state university here. They may be attracted to the allure of the big city. They may be looking for a warmer environment. So that's part of the problem. The other problem is we aren't experiencing the rapid population growth that we had in the 80s and 90s.
Migration, wasn't it?
It was, but it was families moving here with children. Those families are no longer moving here, at least to the same degree that they did in the 80s and 90s. So we've lost that base of young people that are our next generation workforce.
All right, so we're about out of time in this segment. When we return, though, I want to talk about some of these issues. So we're going to focus on a little bit more on workforce development, but please stay with us.